Cancers and cancer survivorship groups and cancer support groups represent the cancers that they're most passionate about through colorful ribbons. And the Rogel Cancer Center thought that was a very meaningful way to highlight our commitment to cancers of all type and every cancer patient that we see. Colorful captures our imagination and at least highlighting the notion that we want to give hope to every patient diagnosed with cancer. So we're really excited about the colorful theme and all that it will bring to us in the future through our ability to serve so many.
There's times in your life, pivotal times, where there was before this and then there was after this.
When I think about research in patients, I'm thinking of the patient who's sitting in front of me, and I'm thinking about future patients.
It is extremely exciting.
This is the novel age.
We've come a long way in cancer research.
One experiment at a time.
The Rogel Cancer Center faculty play major roles not only on the patients seen at the Rogel, but certainly nationally and internationally.
By working together, we have more resources and have a louder voice.
The fact that they've gotten as far as they have in the last 12 years is amazing to me.
It is our Mount Everest. New talent, new excitement. We've gone up in the rankings.
It's miraculous.
And now, welcome to the stage, our MC for the evening, Dhani Jones.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Look at this. Fantastic. How's everybody doing? Everybody's ready for Parents Weekend, Homecoming Weekend, Big Party Weekend? Yes? Okay, good. You gotta, you put your money to work. You gotta go have a good time. I was flying in from New York today, and I'm telling you, the plane was jam-packed. I wanted to jump up and just start singing Hail to the Victors, because I feel like everybody on the airplane would have been able to participate. There was a couple of people that were really uncomfortable because I feel like they just made the wrong choice, but that's their problem, not our problem. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Rogel Cancer Center's second colorful event presented by Genentech. My name is Dhani Jones, and I'll be your host for tonight, and I'm so honored to be with you, with things that are so close and personal to everybody's heart. It really does take a community. It takes each and every one of you. For those that have had cancer, those that have lost people to cancer, and those that might be on your own personal cancer journey. And I think, like anything else, especially the Michigan way, is to take action. It's not about sitting back and waiting. It's about moving forward and doing. And most importantly, it's about being here tonight and supporting one another and all those family members and, of course, friends. And supporting cancer research, we're ensuring that tomorrow's treatments, cures, and preventative actions will be more effective and easier to navigate. We are making life-changing and life-saving progress possible. I think some of you might know I have a friend who beat cancer. His name's Kunta Littlejohn. As some of you know, I rock bow ties quite frequently. And he's the one that inspired me to do so. He said, if you want to be somebody, you got to rock a bow tie. And I looked at him like, you would look at anybody that rocked a bow tie, like, what's wrong with you? And he said, if you want to be somebody, you got to rock a bow tie. And I found out that he had cancer when I went down. And I was playing at the time, I was playing on the Giants. I went to go see him at his house. And my friend, let's just say he's a healthy guy. And I went to go see him. He didn't look so healthy. He went from about 300 pounds down to 120. I was like, there's something wrong with you. I was like, we usually spend more time at Dairy Queen and 7-Eleven, hanging out, having a good time. And it doesn't look like you've been visiting any of our favorite spots lately. And he pointed to, I remember specifically, he pointed to the top of his refrigerator, and there was all these pills. And he told me that he had cancer. And I immediately went back up to New Jersey, where I was playing on the Giants at the time, as I said, and I went to go put on a bow tie. And I've been rocking them ever since. And I'm so grateful to him because I don't honestly think I would have been able to do so much during my career had it not been for his great words and by virtue of the bow tie. So I'm grateful to his resilience. Let's just say we spend a lot of time at UDF now. We spend a lot of time at 7-Eleven, and we go to Dairy Queen. Everything's all good. Everything's back to normal. But patients have to be resilient. They have to be able to have that mental and physical fortitude in order to push their way through. So let's see who you are here for tonight, right? So take out your cell phones. I know everybody has one, okay? This is not me playing a joke where you taking them out and I just come by and I take all the cell phones away from you. I want everybody to text colorful to 37607. So it doesn't matter if you have one of those phones that has that color, right? Because we prefer the ones that have the blue, right? But there's some people that may not have the right phone, but it's okay. It still works, okay? So text colorful to 37067 and then hit enter, and it'll submit who you are here for tonight. So as you can see, colorful and you don't have to do capital. I don't believe so, right? You can just do it COLORFUL. Man, that kind of took me a quick second, right? When was the last time you actually had to spell something? To 37607. Everybody tried to do that? Hamilton, you do it? Okay, you know I was going to call you out, right in my line of sight. Rich, did you get it? Okay. One of the amazing things about technology, sometimes it takes its time. We're going to assemble all these names. Is it coming through? Oh, look at that. Brother-in-law, dad, best friend, mom, Dolly, grandma, brother-in-law, colorful, patient, father, Lou, Barb. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. Oh, I love that. It's beautiful. Thank you. This cause this evening means a great deal to me. I appreciate it means a great deal to you, and we're hoping to hear more stories about your own personal resilience, meeting some inspiring people, and learn about some game-changing research. We're going to have some talk show style fun. So here we go. All right, let's get started with a video about one of my coaches, Jim Plotke.
If you imagine like the London tube, the subway, which is a hub with a lot of connecting stations and it spreads all over London, if you block a tiny station in one end of that map, people are still going to be able to get everywhere else because they can bypass that hub, right? So the field has come to the conclusion is that a single therapy that targets a single pathway is not going to be sufficient.
It's an iterative process where each year or decade, based on people that do amazing science and amazing work, we get just a little better and a little better.
I know some patients since the day I came here, and it's like 22 years, and my patients have graduated from high school, colleges, they have the kids of their own. This journey doesn't even end here, and I have had instances where patients who unfortunately did not make it and we were not able to cure that patient, but the families still somehow considers us part of our family, and I get some of the most beautiful letters from some of those moms. I think those are my best Christmas gifts. I hold those things dearly.
My husband is a very tough individual. That's what he preached every day, was toughness. My name's Beverly Plocky, and I coach the women's gymnastics team at the University of Michigan. I've been here for 33 years, and I've seen a lot of high highs and low lows. We deal with pressure on a daily basis, and we have some athletes that handle it in stride and some athletes that collapse under the pressure. My husband is always out in the yard. He loves his landscape. He loves picking weeds and moving mulch and doing all those things. And he was struggling. He kept coming in and getting water and telling me that he felt fatigued. And this is very unlike him.
I thought I had a heart blockage because I couldn't breathe.
We went into the emergency room. They did a bunch of tests with him.
And they said my heart was all right.
The heart tests had all come back looking fine.
After they gave me some blood transfusion, I felt great. I'm thinking, I'm going home. I got my energy back. Oh, I'm going to be out of here, you know. And they just said, hold on, you know, we would like to keep you to Monday. And I was like, why? And they just said, well, we got to do some more testing.
Something was going on. I started to realize we were in the middle of something that was probably going to be serious.
Jim had an aggressive form of acute myeloid leukemia.
What? You know?
We just kind of looked at each other. We had a moment together where it just kind of paralyzes you.
My chances of surviving were probably about 5%. If I had a transplant, it would go up to about 20. I just kind of looked at Bev as just, like, is it going to be over, you know? And we hugged, we cried. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen. We
ended up kind of taking that night, and when I came back the next morning, I realized that I couldn't be the brokenhearted wife. I needed to put my coach's hat back on, and I needed to be his moral support, and I needed to be his strength.
We've been a team together. It was like, I always joke around, we call it Team Plockies, our whole family. And just another thing for the team to handle.
I felt like it was my job to kind of remind him who he is and that he was going to be aggressive and that he was going to take this on as a challenge head first. And that's exactly what he did.
Jim was somebody who wanted a plan. How do I attack this problem? How do I get on and do what I need to do so I can move forward with my life?
Tell me what I need to do. I mean, that's just, let's go with at least it's not 0%. At least I got 5%, you know, and I said, if I get this transplant, it's 20. I go with that odds, it's better than 0.
Well, my husband is an individual that if you tell him that, you know, sitting up in bed is gonna benefit him, he's gonna sit up for 23 and a half out of 24 hours. If you tell him that walking is gonna be a benefit to him and moving around, like he's gonna take that to the nth degree.
I'm gonna fight and keep swinging.
He figured out how many laps around the unit that we were on would equal a mile. And we did that absolutely every day, if not twice or sometimes 3 times a day. And I do think that he took a little special pride in lapping some of the other patients.
It was highly likely, based on some of the mutations specific to his cancer, that it would have come back at some point.
And so we immediately started looking into bone marrow transplant. Because he is, you know, just regular average Joe person, that there was better than an 80% chance that they would find perfect matches in the system. And it turned out that there was only one.
And she was like 26 years old or something like that, and then they couldn't locate her.
This person was in the system but not responding to the calls that had been put out.
They couldn't find her. They couldn't find her.
No amount of walking laps around the hospital was going to make a donor appear.
And we're just like, oh my God, you know, this is getting serious.
It was very scary.
They did my sister, she wasn't a match. They did my older brother, he wasn't a match.
That was an incredibly scary and very vulnerable time for us, as we had to the only option we had was to basically sit and wait for those results.
Right when I was at a low point, I'd get a card or I'd get a call from a former athlete.
He's worked with so many different sports during his career, and to get a card, cards from different people that talked to him about what he had meant to them and how hard he had pushed them. There was something about a Taylor Swift CD in one of them and how he would play that blaring in the weight room when he was all over them about another rep, another rep. The message was, you pushed us, you made us better, and now we're here to push you and to keep you positive and to keep you moving forward.
It gets you fired up. I mean, it's just like I was getting them fired up. They're getting me fired up now. Coach, we're with you. We want you to get better. We're praying for you, whatever it takes. Remember those steps we did, and remember this stuff we did, and just I'd use that as motivation. I said, oh, they're right. I mean, I did that to them. Now it's my turn.
As I contemplate about Jim and his case, I just love the man's resilience.
And then I got a call from my brother. He goes, hey, guess what? I'm a match.
His brother Dave was a perfect match.
I was like, holy cow, that's awesome.
And so Dave was amazing. He was giving himself injections to produce more stem cells. He saved my husband's life. When we were ready to do it, they brought the bag of stem cells up to the room. I just remember that there was like an unbelievable amount of people that all converged on the room. This December, we will reach the 5-year mark. I will look forward to Christmas this year. And the blessing will be that I think maybe for the first time we'll be able to go outside and look at the blue sky and feel like, maybe we've made it.
Powerful. And I remember some of those workouts that he'd make us do too. Okay, so he's a good man and a good friend, and has been incredible to our program. And it's amazing how they're striving to make a difference in cancer medicine for others just as much as that you are as well. So speaking of you, I want to do something fun for the audience right now, okay? All right. Everybody have a program card? It's the one with my big smiling face on it. Everybody's got that card? If you don't have one, raise your hand. Someone will bring you a card. Rich doesn't have a card. There's a couple cards to be given out. A couple cards in the front row. Someone else need a card? 2 cards down here. Okay, we'll just grab a couple cards. These cards are very, very important because we have some fun gift giving that's coming up right now. Okay, everybody have a card now? Okay. I have a gift bag full of Rogel Cancer Center swag, and there's a number on the back of your program card. We just need someone to help me pick the winner. All right, so Susan. Does everybody know Susan Rogel? Give her a round of applause, please. Okay? All right.
You want me to pick the winner?
Yes, please.
Okay. Wait.
Just pick one. She's
38.
All right, where's 38? Uh-oh. 38 going once. 38 going twice. 38 is passed. Okay. Next number.
Okay. They're missing out. 39.
39. Who's got 39? I'm shaking it up. Okay. Back in the back? Oh, congratulations. Susan, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You want to pass it on? Wait, I'm going to give you the microphone. You wanted to pass it on?
I do. I'm Julie Brabs. I'm the administrator for the Cancer Center. So I have tons of Rogel swag. I would love to give it to somebody else.
Who would you like to pass it on to?
Let's do.
Or do you want to pick another number?
I'm just going to say 15.
15. Who's got 15? 15?
All right.
15. Okay. Thank you. And what is your name?
Oh, here we are.
Oh, Sis Maisel.
That's me.
How are you doing? Who are you here supporting today?
Well, I was here from the beginning of the Cancer Center because they didn't have one here. My husband had died from pancreatic cancer. So I'm here for pancreatic cancer.
Thank you. Give her a round of applause, please. Now, if you didn't win something, it's okay. There's more. I've got a couple more things that I'd be willing to pass out in a little bit. Oh, man. I should have put my number into the basket. That was what happened. 38 and 39 were actually my number, and I didn't get it, but it's okay. Sis, I'm so glad that you got it. Another round of applause, please. All right, so there's a QR code on the back of your program, so you can use your phone. It's kind of cool. You just take out the camera, just show it on the back, and that'll take you to a cool portal. And there's 2 incredible packages to bid on. So if you take some time, take a picture of it, you just hit the button, it'll go right to these incredible packages. So first package, everybody knows, is going to be University of Michigan Wolverine football experience, private tour for 4 for Schembechler Hall, hosted by Jim Plotke, 2 tickets to the University of Michigan Nebraska football game on November 12th, and 1 football signed by Coach Jim Harbaugh. Who would like to win that? You know, if you don't want to win it, I'll win it. It's fine. I'll take that too. I'll take the basket. I'll take all the exciting experiences as well. All right, and then the second item, okay? You ready for this one? That's when you say yes. Okay, good. All right. Look at this, 4 tickets to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's mine. No, it's not my induction, sorry. Kind of wish it was, but it's okay. But if anybody hasn't been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, it's absolutely sensational. So many players from so many different decades and so many coaches and so many people, and the stories are absolutely fantastic. So the enshrinement ceremony for August 2023, 4 club tickets to the Pro Football Hall of Fame game, private round-trip flight for 4 guests with pickup location anywhere. So you might want to take a vacation to Hawaii first. I'm just saying. What? No? I mean, it's like August, so you might be in Hawaii and like, hey, I'm going to Pro Football Hall of Fame. I just need to get there. You did say, or Alaska. International? No, I'm just saying, sorry. 2 hotel rooms for 2 nights and SUV car service while you're in Canton. There's just so many things that you can bid on. So we want everybody to pay attention because there's just so many different stories and so much information that we're gonna have for you tonight. The auction is gonna be open till 10 p.m. So at 9:59, I'm logging on to make sure I can win something as well. So after we're done, we'll have some cocktails and you can bid during the reception. All right, before I go any further, let's hear from tonight's presenting sponsor, Genentech, a member of the Roche Group.
Good evening. I'm Shelley Skinner with Genentech, a member of the Roche Group.
And I'm Nancy Reed, also with Genentech. For more than 40 years, we have been following the science, seeking solutions to unmet medical needs. We are a leader in advancing the fields of cancer biology, cancer immunology, and oncology drug discovery.
We are proud to be tonight's presenting sponsor of Colorful, benefiting the Rogel Cancer Center, one of the top cancer research institutions in the world. At Genentech, we know making medicines is just one way we can make a difference. We're passionate about applying our skills, time, and resources to positively impact the patients we serve, the scientific community, and the places we live and work. Tonight, we join all of you in a shared mission to improve the health and well-being of all cancer patients near and far.
At Genentech, our health equity strategy is a priority and anchored to our 10-year pharma vision to provide 3 to 5 times more benefit for patients at 50% less cost to society. Health disparities persist by gender, geography, race, ability, and other factors, all driven by systemic inequities in social, economic, and environmental conditions that people face. Our intended outcome is focused on advancing health equity for underserved populations through improved access to our medicines and increased participation in clinical trials. Genentech's health equity strategy is multifaceted. We are increasing representation across the organization to ensure enhanced capabilities to address disparities in communities. We're increasing equitable access to care across the Genentech portfolio, where the goal is to examine the role of policy, pricing, and contracting philosophies through a health equity lens.
Lastly, we are committed to building community trust, and this is where our organization can play a critical role. Our Michigan healthcare ecosystem teams are uniquely positioned on the front lines of customer engagement to gain real-time insights, manage relationships and priorities, and coordinate with our internal Genentech teams to ensure that we execute a strategy that helps address mistrust in a way that aligns with community needs and our corporate priorities.
We live in an age of incredible scientific discovery, and together we have the potential to change people's lives.
Thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you to Dhani Jones, Devon Still, and the faculty, staff, and patients of the Rogel Cancer Center for your partnership.
Thank you again to the wonderful people at Genentech for tonight's presenting sponsor. Thank you so much. Another round of applause, please. I'd also like to thank Kennedy Care, another one of tonight's generous sponsors. Round of applause. We're so grateful for your support of the Cancer Center, the Rogel Cancer Center. All right, as you know, some folks are tuning in tonight from coast to coast. You know what that means? There are people online. All right? So we're kind of doing a hybrid thing tonight. And there are folks in Michigan, Minnesota, New York, California, Illinois. They're all across. Maybe some people in Hawaii that are waiting their opportunity to fly into Canton. All right, the list goes on. And I'd like to give a quick shout out to Bob Bernstein in the Chicago area. Bob, I'm glad you're here tonight. Go Blue, wherever you are. I think the screen is back there somewhere. And also Eric in Minneapolis and Jill in California. I see you, Eric and Jill. Everybody at one time? Go Blue. There you go. I'm excited to take a moment to invite some of our virtual guests to the stage. Let's give everybody a big welcome to Amy and Courtney and the Sweeney family. Look at that. Oh, look at, oh my gosh. Amy and Courtney, where are you all tuning in from?
Frankenmuth, Michigan.
Whereabouts?
Frankenmuth, Michigan.
Frankenmuth, Michigan. Anybody Frankenmuth, Michigan? Is it Frankenmuth? Is Frankenmuth? Up north?
Correct.
Oh, I know a cool car dealership up there.
I bet
I've
you
been
do.
up there. They got a great golf course up there too. Great fried chicken at isn't it the Inn or something like that? Bavarian Inn. Oh, I haven't been there. You have a big Bavarian festival too, right? Yeah, it's amazing. I'm glad you decided to tune in. Can you tell us a bit about what inspired you to be here tonight?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks everybody for joining us. I'd like to talk a little bit about my story, which started in November of 2020. I had some side pain. I went to the doctor. They did a bunch of tests, and it turned out that I had about a foot-long tumor on my kidney with an aneurysm inside. talk about scary. And it was 2020, so my husband wasn't able to be there for any of the procedures and surgery to remove my kidney. Following that, I had chest pain, and I thought, maybe I'm having a pulmonary embolism from the surgery. But it took several trips to my doctor and several CT scans to show that they had found cysts in my lungs. And so they thought that I had something called lymphangioliomyomatosis, otherwise known as LAM, L-A-M. So I turned to Dr. Google, which is the worst thing you can do. And it said that I had a prognosis of 5 years. At the time, I had a 9-month-old and an 18-month-old, Winston and Charlie. And so the first thought that ran through my mind was, oh my gosh, I'm never going to see them graduate high school. I'm never going to see them go to college, get married, start a family of their own. And it took about 6 months of living with that till I could get to my appointment at U of M with my wonderful pulmonologist. Shout out to Bonnie Wang. And they did do a lot of genetic testing. And it turned out that I do have LAM. However, it wasn't a 5-year prognosis. There has been many new science that shows that with certain medications that it can actually slow down the progression, because it is a cystic lung disease that progresses as you get older, and it targets women only during their childbearing years and gets worse with pregnancy. So I am very lucky in my case to be mild at this time. But I now am not so sad and know that I'll be able to see Win and Charlie live full lives, and have been trying to raise awareness because it is only diagnosed in 3 to 5 women per million. So there's really not much known about it. And so just to spread awareness and support all of the other types of cancers that we're hearing about tonight. What are you doing here?
And I am here because as being Courtney's friend, I asked her, what can somebody do? And she just said, be present, be there for her. And that's all that I can do. And so I'm doing the best I can to give her the best.
Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for being with us tonight. That's exactly what Colorful is all about. Allie and Jill from the Sweeney Family, where are you tuning in from tonight?
We are tuning in tonight from Milan, Illinois. We're actually out at our 2nd annual Dave Sweeney Memorial Golf Classic at Pinnacle Golf Course. And we are hoping to raise another $20,000. We raised $20,000 last year, and went and saw, shout out to Gary Hammer and Chris and the research team at University of Michigan. We are just like Courtney. First, before we really share our story, we want to let Courtney know our hearts and our prayers go out to you. And we are fighting, just like you are fighting, for awareness about rare cancers and getting our voices out there and getting people to understand, to personalize cancer, to make it personal, to make it be a mother, a father, a grandmother, a niece, a nephew, so that people understand we're not just a number. We are people that are fighting to save lives. And my husband was diagnosed with another rare cancer, 1 in a million, adrenal cortical carcinoma, ACC. And he was diagnosed, and literally no one in our area had even heard about it. So it took us a long time, not as long as you, Courtney, to be diagnosed, but it took several months just to figure out what was wrong with him. And by the time he was diagnosed with ACC, he lived for 2 months and then passed away. So we're here, Sweeney family and friends, trying to raise not only awareness for adrenal cancer, but hopefully with the money that we can raise, the research that they do in those labs will not only help adrenal cancer, but will help other cancers, and just keep doing great things. Dr. Hammer and research team, Hammer Time, Hammer Lab. So we just want to be there to support, awareness and bring some money to the table.
She really I was just going to say, watching my dad kind of go through this whole situation, one of his dying wishes was, told myself I wasn't going to cry, sorry, was to help others. Sorry. So that's where the David Sweeney Memorial was made. We want to advocate. We want to get our name out there. We want to, not like my mom said, we have been hit by cancer so hard in the last couple years, not just adrenal. Something big for us is after talking with the teams there at Michigan, immediately, I think within probably 4 minutes stepping into that office, we felt like family. Unfortunately, Dr. Hammer didn't get to see my dad, but we knew this was the fit. This is where we wanted to take our money. The things they're doing in the lab is unbelievable, so inspiring. And like I said, meeting the people at Michigan really put a fire under our butts. We just want to do more. We want to show big pharma companies that no number is too low to try to save someone. That's my dad, her husband, these people's friends, so that's our mission. We really want to help, not just for adrenal cancer, but for all cancers. So we're honored to be here. We are a Michigan family now, so you're stuck with us. So yeah, it's been an honor. Thanks for having us.
Can we get a go blue? Go blue!
Go blue!
Amy, Courtney, Allie, and Jill, the Sweeney family, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story. Again, as I said before, this is what Colorful is all about. You're a mother, you're a father, you're a sister, a brother, you're a family, a friend. You're all a part of a community. So thank you again for sharing your story and being a part of the Rogel Cancer Center community. We all have a mission, and I want to encourage everyone to, again, support what is meaningful to you by jumping onto the giving portal and making a gift or bidding on one of our great auction items. Now it's the time to hear from our guest speaker. We're so fortunate to have Devon Still join us today, this evening. Devon and I played in the NFL at the same time. He's a much better athlete than I was. Maybe though, have you spoke at the Hall of Fame yet? You will. He'll speak at the Hall of Fame. He'll get an invite. And while we may have played on the opposing teams on the field, I could not be more honored to share the stage and to be on the same team with him tonight. Now, a special person in Devon's life wanted to introduce him tonight, so I'll step away.
Hey everyone, it's Leah, and I wish I could be there today, but since I'm trying to become a doctor, I can't really miss school. So I sent somebody that I kind of trust to tell our story. So I'd like to welcome my dad, Devon Still, to the stage. I could get used to saying that, Devon.
Oh, man. So I didn't plan on starting my speech like this, but I see we had some parents that brought their kids. So I just want to apologize for the example that Leah just set for them. Kids, do not call your parents by your first name. Parents, if you have your complaints, Leah's tuning in live. You can look into the camera and let her know. But all seriousness, those are the type of moments that I look forward to, right? Those are the type of moments with Leah that I cherish, because there was a time where I wasn't sure whether we'll be able to share those moments together. June 2nd, 2014, I remember it like it was yesterday. The family was extremely excited that morning because it was the day of Leah's dance recital. And she had been practicing for about 3 or 4 months for this very day. And she went out to breakfast with her grandmother to IHOP. It was one of her favorite restaurants to go to. But this day was a little bit different because Leah wasn't eating her food. She was acting lethargic. She kept her head down on the table the whole time she was there. And I got a call from her grandmother letting me know what was going on. So I ended up taking her to an express emergency room right across the street because I wanted to get her in and out. I wanted her to get some type of medicine to help her feel better because she had been preparing for this moment for the past 3 or 4 months. When I took her in there, they couldn't find anything wrong with her, so they sent us to another children's hospital right down the road to try to figure out what was going on. And when we got there, they ran a blood test on her. They came into the room about an hour later, and they read down a list of 10 different things that they were thinking it could be. And the last thing they said was cancer. And because they said it at the last, as the last item, I didn't pay it any mind because I'm like, if it's really that great of a chance of it being cancer, you would have said it higher up on the list. So they ran a couple of more tests on her. They did an ultrasound, and they found a tumor in her stomach. A couple of hours later, after getting an MRI and a CAT scan, they came out and they told us that she had stage 4 neuroblastoma. And like so many said on the videos earlier today, I felt paralyzed. I felt helpless. For about 3 or 4 days, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to eat. I was hopeless. I was helpless. But I realized something in that moment, right? That it wasn't the fact that Leah got diagnosed with cancer that made me feel paralyzed. It wasn't the fact that she got diagnosed with cancer that made me feel hopeless, but it was what I believed about her diagnosis. I believed that I wasn't going to be able to watch my daughter grow up. I believed that I wasn't going to be able to see her graduate from high school or go off to college. I believed that my daughter was going to die. That's why I felt paralyzed. But the moment that I changed my belief system, the moment that I stopped focusing on the 50% chance she had of dying, and I started to focus on the 50% chance she had of living, that's when I took my power back. That's when I was able to get up off the ground and rise above the challenge. That was the moment where I went from being hopeless to hopeful. That was the moment I was able to broaden and build my awareness and the resources that was necessary to help Leah overcome this battle with cancer. But it was also the moment when I changed my belief system, Leah changed her belief system. When I believed that one day she was going to be able to walk that stage at her high school graduation, that she was going to be able to go off to college, when I believed that she was one day going to be able to declare herself a cancer survivor, her mindset shifted. And we went out together and we bought this shirt that said future cancer survivor because I wanted her to look at herself as that every time she looked in the mirror. It didn't matter that she lost all her hair. It didn't matter that she lost her eyebrows. It didn't matter how much pain she was going through as she was going through chemo and radiation. It didn't matter how much weight she lost. When she looked in the mirror and there were times where she didn't like what was looking back, when she thought that she wasn't beautiful, I wanted her to see a future cancer survivor. And let me tell you what happened. Not only did we change our mindset about how we were going to approach this, we changed our mindset of what this meant for us, what this was going to mean for the world. You see, changing your mindset is cool, but when you decide to find a purpose that's bigger than your pain, when you find a meaning that really transcends yourself, that's when you really have the power to fight. This going public with our story wasn't about us, it wasn't about us trying to gain sympathy, but it was about spreading awareness. Because I spent so many nights in the hospital when I went down to the family room to warm up food and I seen parents sitting on the couch crying because they didn't want to lose their kid. And I would sit down and I would just talk to them to find out what they were going through, because One thing about the cancer community is you don't want to be a part of it, but once you're a part of it, it's a family. It's a real community. And we do our best to help each other overcome the challenges that we face. And I realized the financial hardships that a lot of people were facing. You see, I was playing in the NFL. I didn't have to worry about how I was going to pay my bills or if I had access to certain treatments. But a lot of those families didn't. Families who are diagnosed with childhood cancer lose about 40% of their annual household income due to cancer treatment work-related disruption. Bankruptcy rates are 260% higher in households with childhood cancer than similar households without cancer. So I knew we had to do something. I knew I needed to use my platform to spread awareness to let the world know what is going on inside these hospitals. I needed to give a voice to the voiceless. So that's what we did. We found a purpose that was greater than our pain. And because of that, the moments that we wanted to give up, because although having meaning is important, although having a belief system that is optimistic is important, there are some times where you just don't know if you can do it. When you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, when you don't see no way out of it. But I realized when there were so many times I would be on the football field crying, like literally crying at practice. I have 200-300-pound men trying to blow my head off at the line of scrimmage, and I literally have tears coming down my eyes because I didn't want to be there. The only reason why I was there is because I needed another year to be vested in order to have insurance to pay for Leah's treatment. But if I had it, I was willing to retire from football. And there were days where I would go home where I would just be in my room and I would literally be on the ground crying, snot flying everywhere, tears flying everywhere. And I wanted to give up. It was one time in particular, I remember I was sitting outside of a liquor store that was about 2 miles down from my house because I needed to find some way to numb the pain. It was unbearable. But I remember sitting inside the parking lot and I told myself, if Leah and other kids that are battling cancer don't have an escape for their pain, who am I to believe that I can escape this? So I continued to fight. And I realized that if I gave up, that would be sending a message to every other family who's depending on me to use this platform, to show them strength, to give them hope. It would be sending a message that it was okay for them to give up. And I wasn't willing to do that. I wasn't willing to allow Leah to battle cancer in vain, that I needed something good to come out of something bad. And something did come out of it. She went from being a future cancer survivor to now, in March, she will be a 7-year cancer survivor. That's the power of community. That's the power of switching the way that you believe about the adversities that you face in life. That's the power of deciding to never give up, to become resilient, to bounce back from whatever challenges you face and come out a better person, a better woman, a better man, a better child. That's the power. And although we clapped it up that Leah is going 7 years in remission, 7 years cancer-free, there are still too many kids who are battling cancer. There are still too many people who are battling cancer. And just because our fight is over, it doesn't mean that the fight is over. And that's why we're all in this room tonight. So I'm asking everybody to step up in any way that you can. Find something in your heart. Find the purpose and why you're here, why you were called to be here in this room right now. And step up and help out another family because we need it. And I believe that it takes a team effort. It takes the people who are battling cancer. It takes the doctors. It takes the researchers. It takes the janitors in the hospital. It takes the nurses. It takes child life. It takes donors. It takes everybody to come together to beat this disease. But I believe if we really believe in it, if we're hopeful, if we remain resilient, that one day nobody will have to hear the words that you have cancer or somebody you love has cancer. So I thank you today for having me, allowing me to share my family story, and let's raise some money so that we can beat cancer.
Thank you, Devon. Man. Powerful, powerful story. Wow. Amazing story. Thank you for your advocacy, your work, both on the field and off the field, and the movement that you've created. Keep doing good work. Give them another round of applause, please. So I'd like to invite some Rogel Cancer Center faculty to join us on stage. But first, I want to have the Cancer Center's top neuroblastoma specialist wanted to say hello.
Devon and Leah, I'm so sorry I couldn't be there tonight at this fantastic event, Colorful. But I wanted to send a brief message to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being an exemplar of resilience, of strength. Thank you for sharing your story and your journey so courageously with all of us. You inspire me. You inspire us. Thank you. I hope that our paths will cross someday soon. And in the meantime, I'm going to keep fighting to search for cures for children with neuroblastoma. I look forward to meeting you soon.
So we have some great faculty members that are on stage with us. Dr. Eric Fearon, Director of the Rogel Cancer Center and Emmanuel, and Maisel, Professor of Oncology. Round of applause, please. Dr. Dan Wall, a radiation oncologist who specializes in brain cancer. And Dr. Carl Koshman, who cares for children and young adults with brain cancer. He's the Chad Tuff Defeat DIPG Research Professor of Pediatrics. Thank you all for being here tonight. Leahs Still was given a 50% chance of survival. We're here tonight to change those statistics for everyone facing every kind of cancer. So we have a couple questions. This is our talk show segment, and I want to start off with you, Carl. Can you tell us how research is impacting the outlook for DIPG and brain tumors? And what are the most exciting things happening in your lab right now? Where'd you get those cool orange glasses?
Thank you for noticing. They're perfect for colorful, am I right? Yes, so I should explain DIPG stands for diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, and it is unfortunately one of the cancers with the very worst prognosis. So kids today who are diagnosed with this have an expected survival of 12 to 18 months. However, we are really on the verge of cracking this tumor open with better therapies. And a few years ago, we had the opportunity at U of M to lead a study with a promising drug called ONC201 for this patient population. And we typically see about 3 or 4 patients with DIPG in U of M 5-10 years ago. And we ended up enrolling 70 patients at U of M on this trial. And we just got the results of that trial. And for some of the patients in that trial, it doubled their survival. So it's a wonderful time to be taking care of patients with this tumor, and we have something to work with. And we're now building on that with the combination trials. And the samples from that trial are being sent all over U of M labs so that we can study and learn how to do even better.
Dan, I understand you're pursuing some clinical trials. Are those treatments? Are these treatments that were not available until recently?
Thanks, Dhani. Yeah, in the past few years, we've been able to start clinical trials that have really given new treatment options for patients here in Michigan with cancer. The work started in the laboratory, and so we found out that cancers were kind of addicted to these things called metabolites, which are molecules like sugars or fats or little pieces of protein. And we found out that drugs that block these metabolites made radiation and chemotherapy work better. And we know that these therapies work for patients, but they don't work as well as they want. And so with that laboratory data, we then moved to the clinic and gave these drugs to our patients along with the radiation and chemotherapy. And so the Rogel Cancer Center, I think, is the first place in the world where patients with cancer can come and get one of these metabolic inhibitors along with their radiation and chemotherapy. And I'm fielding calls from people all over the world who want to come here and participate in these trials. And it's a testament to the work going on across the entire Rogel Cancer Center.
I was thinking about the time when I went to school here at Michigan, and I just have such an utmost amount of respect for those that spend time in the lab and just be able to find those nuances, right? How many trials or how many assumptions do you think you've made up until this point in order to kind of arrive at this moment?
So I think it was Linus Pauling maybe who said the best way to have a good idea is to have a lot of ideas. And I think that's true. You try a lot of things rigorously, and one of them is going to work. Yeah.
So Eric, I know about resiliency from my own career. You're a basic scientist. Could you tell us what resiliency means to you as a researcher?
Yeah, thanks so much. I think we've heard amazing stories of resilience here tonight and many in the audience. So I think the most resilient people in the whole cancer problem, as we often talk about it, are the patients and their caregivers and the providers, the care team, the nurses, the MAs, the physicians, everyone involved. So I think, laboratory researchers are inspired by the stories of cancer patients, and really they're powerful inspiration for us to pursue work. And on the one hand, it seems like you watch movies and it seems like eureka moments happen all the time. Unfortunately, eureka moments are really rare. Most of the experiments you do fail. It's research, so it's not an engineering problem where there's an easy solution. So you have to be resilient. Things can go wrong. You've been there 11, 12 hours at night. And I remember doing sequencing gels before Dr. Chennaiyan and others here had automated machines. And the last step was floating the gel off onto a piece of paper, and the whole result would go away. So you had to be resilient doing experiments. You have to be really resilient when you present your ideas to other people, because they're really tough critics. Only about one, as Devon Still knows, only about 1 in 10 grants get funded by the National Cancer Institute. So you really need to have good ideas. They put through a crucible of sort of tests. And when you want to publish your papers, you often find failure. So you got to have a thick skin. But at the end of the day, it's really an unbelievable opportunity to be able to do research. And it's inspiring, I think, to find glimpses of understanding the cancer problem and how you can take that knowledge to improve cancer outcomes for patients. It really is all about making discoveries that'll improve the patient's outcomes and the quality of their life, and that for survivors.
Thank you for your work. I was just thinking, when you're in the lab and all of a sudden it is a eureka moment, do you all scream? I mean, I was just wondering.
There's a lot of dancing. Yeah.
There's a lot of dancing. No, there has to be. I mean, because within a certain amount of resiliency, there's a moment where you have to just be able to feel good, right? And I think when you see the survival rate start to double, right, and when you see the smiling faces come back into the lab, that's maybe a time when you could smile. You're allowed to do that. Devon, you know everything about resiliency for being in the trenches as I have. what do you think about all the things that you heard tonight?
I think it's all wonderful stuff, but it was one thing that Carl said that really stuck out to me. Just to share a quick story with you all. When Leah first got diagnosed with cancer, I went back out to Cincinnati, and there was one time I was sitting inside my living room and I was watching the news, and there was a story about a girl that attended a local college who was battling DIPG. Her name was Lauren Hill. And I called the school right then and there. I set up a meeting for me to go talk to her, and I met with her. We were able to build up a great friendship, and her and Leah were also able to build up a good friendship. And when we gave away $1 million to Cincinnati's Children's during the Browns game, they sat in the booth together, and they was able to hang out. And during the off season, for the first 4 months when Leah was battling cancer, she never asked what happens if you lose your battle with cancer. I was able to make it through those first 4 months. But that off season, Lauren passed away from DIPG. And when I had to break the news to Leah, that was the first time she asked me, what happens if I lose this battle with cancer? And it completely broke my heart. So to hear about all the advances that you're having in DIPG right now, it hits home to me because it reminds me of that first conversation I had to have with Leah about what happens if you lose your battle with cancer.
No parent wants to have the conversation with their child. But some of us might have to. And it's the work that the doctors do that hopefully allow us not to have that conversation. And part of that is not only through the work that they do, but the philanthropic engagement and the contributions. So Eric, how does philanthropy impact the work that you do?
Yeah, no, philanthropy is really a critical element in our success. We couldn't be successful without philanthropy. We are dependent on generating really compelling stories about the science we do and its potential to impact on cancer outcomes for patients. And that requires actually a lot of data to present your case. So you actually have to make a real proposal that backed up by scientific data. And it's really the initial rocket stage that gets you off the launch pad. And then you seek larger funding from the federal government, from the National Cancer Institute, from other agencies, other major funding agencies. But without the philanthropy to really generate the very best ideas, the very best data to support it, you can't compete at the national level. And that's just a sad reality. There are lots of great ideas out there, but you need great ideas backed by substance. So philanthropy is really critical in getting that initial data for our individual scientists and teams of scientists. And perhaps my colleagues, I'll let Dan talk first and then Carl. They both have really done absolutely spectacular work and been incredibly successful at garnering grants. And I think it's played a key role for them.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Ferron. So, the advice my PhD advisor gave me was ideas are cheap and data is expensive. And it's that data that you need to convince the National Cancer Institute or industry partners that your idea is worthy of the investment to run a lab and run a clinical trial. You come with just an idea, it's never going to get off the ground. And it's been philanthropy from the Rogel Cancer Center, from the Forbes family, from the Limpert family, and others here that gave us the funds to do the studies to show us that we might be right about these ideas about, hey, what's causing resistance of cancer to therapy. And once we had that story, then you could go to the National Cancer Institute and say, you should give us the real funds to do the real work and to run the clinical trial. And it's only that lets it happen. And I think that's been true for many of the investigators here at the Rogel.
When we ran this trial that was successful, there were patients who didn't have such a good outcome, and some actually didn't even live 12 months. We realized from doing sequencing here at U of M with Dr. Chanayan's lab that we could figure out who that group was that wasn't doing well, but that's a really small subgroup. And one of the families from Atlanta whose son passed away at 2 years old from DIPG contacted our lab just a month after he passed and said, how can we help? And we said, we're working on that pathway that your son's tumor had. It'll be a while, but we'll keep working at it. And she said, what would it take to bring a drug to the clinic for just his situation? And I said, well, that's a really big number. And I gave her that number, and she said, let me get back to you. And the Tawari family started a foundation and paid that entire number to our lab. And so it allows us, we were able to hire another postdoc and really just press the gas pedal and be able to run those experiments knowing that the money was there. And it's the kind of subset of patients that we never probably would have been able to get this funding otherwise. So it was a game changer for us. It's an example of what the potential of philanthropy can be.
Devon, everybody in this room is interested in conquering cancer. What's your advice to the audience?
Another quick story. I promise the last one. When Leah first got diagnosed with cancer, we put her into a clinical trial called a MIBG, which is a radiation therapy. And, you know, it was new. We thought that this was going to be the cure to Leah's cancer. But after 3 months of her being in it, we went in and we got scans done, and we found out that the cancer had spread all over her body, that it was no longer just in her hips, but it was now in her chest, her arm, her neck, and it was even in her skull. And if there was ever a time in which I thought that I was really going to lose my daughter, it was during that time. And I remembered she was so disappointed because she fought so hard, and she's like, Dad, what are we going to do? And since I started playing football when I was in 8th grade, my coach has always taught me that no matter how much pain you're in, no matter how tired you are, no matter what the scoreboard says, you got to fight for 4 quarters. And I think it's the same thing with battling cancer. You know, I told my daughter that we was going to fight for 4 quarters, and we put her back into a new clinical trial, and 2 months later, she was completely healed from her disease. So it doesn't matter how many failures you face in a research lab. It doesn't matter how many setbacks you have as you go through your cancer journey. Success can be right around the corner. You just can't give up because you can be this close. So never losing hope, being resilient, overcoming challenges, and just remaining optimistic.
All right, so I've been asking all the questions up here. So we have some people that are online that I'm sure have some questions. A disclaimer, all right? We can't answer any personal medical questions. So just putting it out there. But anybody in the audience would like to ask a question? Oh, Rich, okay.
Thank you. The presentations were excellent. Devon, I have a question. We have the Rogel Cancer Center here. What would you suggest that we do as an organization, as an alumni society, as interested people to make the cancer journey easier, to make people a little bit more optimistic, to be able to deal with it a little better?
I think the biggest thing that the medical community can do to help out families who are battling cancer is just to make sure that it's patient-centered, right? That the patients have a say in what's going on, because when you're going through this, we feel like we lose a lot of our autonomy. We feel like we can't really make any decisions. We lose control of our lives. But when we're a part of the decision process, we're a part of, you know, our treatment, it gives us that power back. So I think that by bringing everybody together and, like I said, being part of one team, it gives families who are going through this battle with cancer that autonomy or that power that they feel like they no longer have after hearing those words that you have cancer.
Other questions? Okay. Your name?
My name is Shelley Skinner. Thank you so much. And the stories and the patient stories were so moving this evening. So my question is about clinical trials and research, which we know are at the heart of new advances in treatments for patients moving forward. So Dr. Fearon, while traditional clinical trials require patients to come to a cancer center like the Rogel Cancer Center to receive treatment and follow-up, decentralized clinical trials leverage technology. They're less of a burden on patients. Could you just share with us, you know, how the Rogel Cancer Center looks at these types of clinical trials, and what are the burdens around this, and how can we overcome this to bring this to patient populations like here in Michigan?
Great, thanks so much. Yes, it's really important as you noted, and we really like to increase equity in the ability to access clinical trials for patients who live around the state of Michigan or even greater distances. And we're working hard to open some hybrid trials with affiliates and partners on the west side of the state as well as in the mid-Michigan area, where some of the trial will be, the initial stages it'll be done here at the Rogel Cancer Center in collaboration with Rogel physicians and Rogel clinical researchers. But then the patient can return and receive the remainder of the trial at the local site that's closer to their home. There are also opportunities for trials that don't involve treatments regularly to do video visits and to take advantage of those mechanisms. So I see the future state as a hybrid state as well as maybe entirely video. So I think obviously we want to make sure the patients and their families have access to these video technologies and that they find satisfaction in it. We don't really, I think, well understand how much satisfaction for the patient and their family for all of these video visits. But I see this hybrid model being really the one that we have going forward for clinical trials, to serve the 10 million residents around the state, many who live at great distance from the Rogel Cancer Center, and then patients elsewhere in the country. So thanks so much for your question.
Another question from the audience.
Hi, Dhani. We have a question from our online audience. They want to know, what is the biggest hope for the next break in research?
Carl, you want to take it?
Oh my.
Carl has to get his crystal ball out.
No, I think if we just look at brain tumors, and I think this applies to a lot of solid tumors, the field of immunotherapy is really exploding. And the brain is a protected organ that really keeps the immune cells out. And just in the last half decade, researchers have figured out tricks to get drugs and effective treatments so that the immune system can find the tumor cells in brains. And we're starting to see some early successes with that. And I think the next few decades will just be more and more immune therapies and personalized immune therapies.
Give them another round of applause.
You guys can stand up for a little bit. Just want to say thank you, Dan. I want to say thank you to Dan, Devon, Carl, and Eric. If you could give them a round of applause, please. Thank you. So I have to remind everybody, you have your app open and you're bidding. We talked about the power of philanthropy. We talked about the power of community. Everybody gave their opinion in terms of what we need to do. And I think it's just sort of the collective understanding that we can do more. We can always do more. So make sure you get your bids in. All right? Man, this is powerful. So we just heard about ways faculty members are changing the face of cancer, and that much of what they accomplish is made possible through contributions like yourself and myself. What I've realized is that gifts enable brilliant people to dream, to survive, and to achieve a level of excellence that might not have been possible without these resources. This year at the Rogel Cancer Center, a groundbreaking achievement was recognized by the international cancer research community. This achievement was years in the making, and it has laid the groundwork for even more discovery. Along the way, philanthropy closes gaps in funding, fueled the pursuit of aha moments, and helped us bring where we are today, and helped make excellence possible. So let's learn more.
Rule is a larger-than-life person, and he really casts such a wide net and has made so many fundamental discoveries that have changed the way we think about cancer.
Internationally renowned and known for his seminal contribution in the research of metastatic prostate cancer.
He made a groundbreaking discovery about recurrent gene fusions in prostate cancer, which has really revolutionized the way we think.
It really has made a difference in hundreds of thousands of men around the world.
Translationally innovative research.
RNA-seq and RNA transcriptome technology.
The MCTP, or Michigan Center for Translational Pathology, the MyOncoSeq program,
has really changed the field.
He's founded multiple companies. He has trained literally dozens of undergraduates, graduate students, and has mentored many faculty, many of which who've gone on to make really fantastic careers for themselves. And that's just the start of his contributions.
He's the main reason I actually decided to come here 3 years ago to join the faculty. He's not afraid to take chances, and he's not afraid to fail. And I think the greatest transformational discoveries that have happened in biomedical research have come from those sorts of visionaries who thought big and challenged the conventional wisdom.
His constant desire for sustained excellence and success and intellectual curiosity.
He hasn't just basked in his fantastic discoveries. He goes on every year to publish papers on groundbreaking discoveries.
Tremendous leader, educator, doctor, and scientist who's fundamentally a very good person.
He's scientifically brilliant, but his scientific brilliance is only exceeded by his humility.
While Rule is brilliant, he's one of a kind. But what I've found so remarkable in him is that he's soft-spoken, he's friendly, he's not arrogant, and he's a team player, and he's always there to help.
I think the amazing part of working with a Rule is that you know that anything is possible. No matter the complexity of the problem, no matter how challenging it might be to study that problem, that with a Rule, his team, and his mind on your side, what seems impossible becomes possible.
This kind of discovery is what Colorful is all about. In recognition of this achievement and the passion behind this work, please welcome to the stage Dr. Arul Shanayan.
So, Arul, on behalf of the Rogel Cancer Center, we're extremely honored to be honoring you for your really inspiring work. It's just a monumental achievement in cancer research to have made a discovery that's at the heart of upwards of half of all prostate cancers, that highlights new approaches to treatment as well as early detection of prostate cancers. And as was noted, this is just one of literally dozens and dozens and dozens of achievements that Arul has made, some based on this discovery and some entirely novel. So on behalf of the Rogel Cancer Center and Colorful, we have a little memento for you that's got quite a bit of color to it. So we're excited to present this to you. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Eric. Certainly after having a chance to receive this award, the Quaber Award in Stockholm, Sweden, and then to come back here and be recognized at the Colorful event, recognized by yourself and the Rogel Cancer Center. It's certainly humbling and certainly an honor to be recognized by the home team, for sure. Certainly, I would say, and you've heard a lot about this today, donors, the research that we carried out early on in terms of prostate cancer was certainly funded by a number of donors, some of which are here today, that really made a difference in terms of really giving us the seed funding to get some of those early results out so that it really drove our research further, certainly. And I'd really like to thank the many individuals who are attending this event who will really fund the next big discoveries in cancer and fund the next therapies in cancer. And that's really what will drive the future as we move forward. And I'd really like to acknowledge those efforts. The final acknowledgement I'd like to make is really to the cancer patients as well as the families that participated in the clinical studies and research, that the discoveries that we made were possible because of their participation in those clinical studies. And I would continue to encourage participation in clinical trials as well as these clinical studies that will hopefully really lead to the next advances and breakthroughs in cancer therapy, diagnosis, and prevention for sure. But definitely, I'd like to thank Eric really for this.
You've heard some amazing stories tonight, and we want to make sure to bring it back to why we are pursuing answers, our patients. Our patients. Every discovery, every advancement, every step closer to a cure, to improve outcomes for cancer patients. Now let's take a peek into C.S. Mott's Children's Hospital, where we take special care to celebrate the lives of all of our little victors with cancer and their families.
I'm honored to be working here. I couldn't think of doing anything else in my life. Every time I come to Mott Children's Hospital, the 7th floor, I make sure I come down this hall. Even if I'm coming from a different direction, I loop around so I can walk down this hall. I have to start my day by coming down this hall. It's this hallway, it's the pictures of these children, of these teenagers, of these young adults that make me smile, that give me hope for the rest of the day, that tell me, here's why you're here today. It starts with many of our kids' affliction. And that affliction that they have brings endurance. Each of these pictures is endurance. That endurance brings strength of character, resiliency. It's a resiliency that every picture you see here on this wall has. Every child here that brings hope. And this hope never fails. I've got a job where I'm able to take care of the thing that means the most to the parents and the patients that we take care of, the life of their son, the life of their daughter. Every day that I come down here, I leave thinking, that was an amazing day. Every patient here has touched my heart, every single one, for 30 plus years. At a very young age, I just learned to have fun doing what I'm doing. And every day I've continued to have fun doing what I'm doing. The pictures of the children that you see on the wall behind us are all children that I've had a lot of fun with. I couldn't see myself doing anything else because I enjoy it so dang much.
One of our little victors, Aiden Beta, and his beautiful family are here tonight, and I'm so privileged to welcome them to the stage with me to help me thank all of you for being here. If you come to the stage, please. Tonight we have parents Stephanie and Peter and their amazing children. Saya, which one's Saya?
We left half at home. Husband.
Oh. Okay. Are they tuning in?
No, I don't think so.
Oh.
It was last minute, so
Okay. What about Juliana? Where's Juliana? Wave. There you are. Okay. Lucas? At home? Okay. Aiden. What's up, buddy? Madeline? Hi, Madeline. Madeline's sitting right there in the third row. Ava and Israel, both at home. Well, we wanted to say welcome to the stage. And, I just wanted for you to speak if you could, for a moment about your experience at Mott and what it means to your family.
Aiden was diagnosed in October of 2018. He was just about 2. He turned 2 in June that year. So it was scary. He had stage 4 neuroblastoma too. You think like, no, not my kid. You hear it every day now. Well, after the cancer world, but before you don't think it'll happen to you or your family, let alone your kid. And I think what was hard was in the beginning, it was something new. It was scary, but the Mott family and the doctors and the nurses and the child life specialists, they made us feel like very safe and like family. Now they're our family forever. We keep in contact with them. Aiden is now 2 years in remission, so he's doing really good. You want to say something? No? You want to say thank you? No? Mott is our home. It was our second home. We were here a lot with neuroblastoma. You're here inpatient a whole lot. But we're thankful to Mott for everything they've done for us.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, buddy. There you go. I just remember Lloyd Carr would always say, it's not about you, it's about something greater than yourself. And I think that's what Colorful is all about. So I want to say thank you to Stephanie, your entire family, the Beta family for being here. And on behalf of all of us that are both here and there, we want to say thank you so much to our inspirational patients. Thank you, Devon, for that amazing presentation, Genentech and Kennedy Care, and the rest of all of our amazing sponsors. As the doctor said and researchers said, it's about the contributions that we all can make as individuals, but it's really about how our community truly comes together and does so much. Rich and Susan Rogel, thank you so much. And of course, do you want to say thank you to everybody? Come on, give me a big thank you. Just say thank you.
You're so loud at home.
I said thank you. He says thank you. He says thank you, incredible thank you to everybody. And we can't stop until cancer is stopped, right? We need to continue to be resilient. I think that's the most important word that we've used through and throughout tonight as we change the future of cancer medicine together. So let's keep the support flowing, place bids, make a gift, do your part. Please join us in the atrium for a strolling dinner, drinks, enjoy community of supporters. Thank you all. And most important, as it's all dear to all of our hearts, go blue.